Hello, hello, friends. Happy Thursday. I'm thrilled to finally be back on here with you all. It seems like it has been forever, but I am so ready to create with you guys tonight and to talk to you a little bit about all the happenings and all the things going on here. So I'm hoping that several of you can jump on with us. I know it's been forever and it took me a while to get on here and tell you we were going to do this tonight. So I know it's last minute for some of you, but hoping you guys can jump on. So before we get started, let's just pray real quick and then we will, when we get started. Oh, Tiffany, yay. I'm so glad. Glad you got it. All right. So let's pray. Lord God, I just thank you so much for today. Lord, I thank you for the sunshine, Lord, and I just thank you for the time that we can get together and create and hopefully just have some fun. Lord, I pray that you'll bless each person who jumps on here tonight. Lord, help them to feel your presence and find your favor, Lord. We just thank you so much for your goodness. In Jesus' name, amen. And I'm also glad, Tiffany, that you're able to jump on here with us. Okay, so this is the last of our Stamps of the Month kit. And I know that is so sad. It's very, very sad to me, but don't worry, I got a plan. So let's start creating and we'll talk as we create. So the first one that we're going to create tonight is going to be this little guy right here. And so what you want to do is you just want to pull out the envelope that's in your kit. It looks like this, and we're going to go ahead and create that together. All right, so this one is going to come together really, really easily and really quickly, but I thought it would be a good one to kind of begin with and to show, because I want to kind of show you a couple of the ways that you can kind of think outside the box a little bit. So maybe when you look at the stamp set, like your eyes are immediately drawn to the hedgehog, but I want us to remember that we have some of these other little pieces here that we can use as a backdrop. And I'm going to keep it super, super simple as I do this. I'm just going to use this flower right here, and we're just going to random stamp on our white daisy cardstock right here. It's the bigger of the two. Okay, we're going to random stamp all around the edges. Now I am using a brand new glass mat, so you guys don't have one of these yet. It's not even for sale yet. It's a little bit different, so I am going to pull in my padding, because there is a difference between the Close to My Heart and the Stampin' Up stamps. And you don't need as much padding per se with the Stampin' Up. And so using the glass mat works really, really well whenever you're using like the cling stamps, which are really what we might call the rubber stamp or the red rubber, or the other stamps that they have. But we'll talk more about those as we kind of get to use those. But I really like to use this glass mat because I tend to be messy, and this is something I can easily wipe off. So this is something, like I said, that I kind of wanted to play with first, and that way I can kind of tell you guys a little bit about it. And that way when it does come out, you'll know if it's something that would interest you guys or not or what. But I actually had bought a different glass mat earlier this year because I knew it was something that I wanted. And then I was really excited to have this one too. That way when I'm working on double page layouts, I've got lots of space and area to go. Okay, so back to our card. All right, so what we're doing is we're just, again, this is the card that we're going to make today. This is our card piece. Again, you have 2 pieces of white daisy in your kit. We're using the largest. All right, so we're just going to take our black ink pad. And you can use black or intense. It's totally up to you. I'm actually going to put my ink pad off to the side so that I don't put my hands in it, because I know I have a tendency to do things like that, or lay something in it or whatever. But all right, and all you're gonna do is you can start in one corner. All right, we're just gonna start in one corner. Now normally if we're random stamping, we're trying to go like almost in triangles all around our paper, but as you see, we're not going to see the center, so I'm not going to worry so much about going all around it. What I'm going to worry about is going all around the edge. And in order to make it look more unique, I'm going to keep changing how I stamp my flower. So my flower, sometimes I'm going to have it go at a different angle, but I want it to not look like it's the exact same flower every time I do it. All right. And honestly, I probably don't even need my my foam piece here, but hey, we've always used it. Why would we change that now, right? This is just a much smaller one. I am getting a little bit of ink on it, so I want to wipe that off. It just is a smaller stamp, so I don't need as much coverage as I would with maybe like this kind of stamp or something that's going to be a little bit more intricate. So again, I'm just twisting and turning my flower so that it doesn't look like it's the same flower every which way. And just doing the random stamp dance. All right. And I've got one little spot, and I even got my fingerprint there, but I'm not worried about that. I'm gonna wipe my finger off. I'm not worried about that because that's gonna go in the center, but do be careful. It's from getting my finger in the ink, so I wanna make sure I clean that off and clean my finger off so I don't do it again. And there you go. So I actually really like that look. I like it because I feel like it's very subtle. It's going to draw your attention to it without taking over. I'm also just going to go ahead and take my card base, and I'm just going to do random stamps across the bottom here. This is an easy, fun way to dress up your cards without adding any extra paper or anything else. You've got the stamps. Let's put them all to use. Now, you could totally color these in. That would take a little bit more time. But because we didn't color in anything off of the base, to me, there's no need to color that in. And then if you really wanted to, you could also, on the back of your envelope, just do one as well. There you go. And then that way, you're kind of making it your own. This is all going to kind of go together. You see that? And I love to kind of do that on my cards that I'm going to send out, just to kind of make them a little bit more unique, a little bit more my own. And again, too, when I'm putting all of this together in my card base, I know I've already got an envelope that matches with it. I don't need to do anything else or even find an envelope. So that just kind of takes care of that. All right, so here we go. We've got that. So while I've got my stamps out, before I do anything else, I am going to bring in my smaller white. Okay, now on this one, what we're going to do is we're going to just stamp our hedgehog. Now you can do any hedgehog that you want. This is a plain flat white daisy. Now you noticed in your kit, you should have some watercolor paper, and that's going to be for some of our others. And you don't ever have to use a watercolor paper, but I do like to send it when it comes to images that have animals, because animals usually have like a furry, you know, like, or a shaggy coat or something like that. And I feel like it just makes it that much more realistic, I guess you can say. But I did not do that for the front of this one. Also because I knew that we were going to be doing like a sentiment, that kind of thing. And sometimes they just don't do as well, I guess you could say. You don't get as good of a coverage unless you're using maybe a Misty, and then you can go a second time. And so take whatever stamp you want to make that work. What we're going to do is just use this one here. I'm going to use it and just follow through actually with the same one that I had there. Okay. And I'm going to actually use that one with our black intense ink. That way you have a little bit, since we're going to end up coloring it in, oops, excuse me, we're going to have a little bit more leeway about what we use, whether or not we use our alcohol inks, watercolor inks, any of that. We won't have to worry about the color smearing as I add color to it. And so I'm just going to make sure that I've got that nice and good coverage, and then we're good to go. And then again, go ahead and pull out any of the sentiments that you want to use. Whatever you think that you're going to use the most of, feel free to use. So we're going to do that real quick. And I think I'm going to do hello again, but I'm going to put a different sentiment inside. So we'll play with that one. Hello is one of those that's very generic. So no matter what you need to use this card for, if it was a birthday, a thank you, anything like that, you could, you know, play with it and be able to have that. And you can use your intense black or a plain black, totally up to you. And we're just going to go right here. And by me doing the sentiment now, that also gives my hedgehog just a little bit of time to dry. That way, before I go to start coloring him in, I don't have to, again, worry about the smearing. Because I've got that out, same thing, and give it another minute to dry, I am going to bring in my card base. And I'm going to do the I'm So Thankful for a Friend Like You. That one's a little bit bigger, and so it will fit well inside here, I think. And let's clean this out. But whatever sentiment works best or that you know that you're going to use, feel free to change it up and make it your own. All right. Tiffany, have you had a chance to be able to pull your stuff out and start playing with it yet? All right. So we've got that. Now I'm going to bring in my base again that I had started to stamp on. It should be dry. You can make this whatever you want. Now on my supply list, I said whatever your favorite medium is. And so for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing that I did here. And because I'm on my flat, I'm going to, flat white daisy, I am going to use the alcohol markers, the tri-blends. But on some of the others, you're going to see that I'm going to use colored pencils because I am using the watercolor. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to start with my hedgehog, and I am going to be really, oh, yay. I'm so glad, Tiffany. That's awesome. All right, I'm just going to kind of go around just really rough. I'm not coloring in or trying to do all of them. I'm not even really following all the holes. By doing that, it kind of just, again, makes it look like it's more of the spikes, right? So I'm just filling in some of those spikes so that it will stand out a little bit better. And even where it was kind of light on the stamped image, I can go back with this and that's going to make it stand out a little bit. And I love like when they put the details here along the face, that just helps me kind of know, as I'm not a professional colorer or any stretch of the imagination, but that lets me know kind of where to start making my marks. All right. And then I'm going to go to the lighter color. Now, if you don't have these and you're needing to get some, I will tell you Stampin' Up! Does have their markers. These, what's nice about the Spectrum Noir is they have 3 colors there. You got a light and a medium and then a dark, right? And they don't have that so much with the Stampin' Up! Markers. What they have is 2 markers that come in a pack, and so you'll have a lighter shade and a darker shade. Now the nice thing about their markers is that they do have they are matched to their actual colors that they carry, so you know that you're actually going to be matching and not trying to kind of find that blend or that match together itself. And so I'm just going back again with a little bit of the darker and then a little bit of the lighter. And then what I'm going to do, this was the shades. So I'm actually going to take out the blend and use, I think I had chosen the medium blend. Let me double check. I want to make sure that I'm staying in the right color family. No, I think I'm just going to go with light. All right. And so this will be actually a little bit darker, but I'm okay with that. And just kind of bringing it in here. Then to just finish it, because I want a super light, but I don't want an off color, I'm just going to take my colored pencil and kind of color him in so it's bringing in that nice light gray without doing it too much. And I will go and do his feet and his arms. All right, here we go. This is the light blends, but the shade's a little bit different. Or I'm sorry, this is the shades and the blend's a little bit different. All right, then I'm going to take just a little bit of a pink. And you could use, again, whatever you wanted, but I just like to color in his ears just a little bit. Kind of give it just a little bit of extra color. Now, as it dries, it will lighten a little bit. Oh, you like rosy cheeks? All right, we'll give him some rosy cheeks. Same color as his ears. You're in control. You tell me, Tiffany. You're the only one who can be on right now, so you tell me. All right. I'll wait to hear. See if you respond. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and do the stem. All right. I really like for the green. I have always liked the dull green blend. So, okay. You like that one. All right. Let's do it. Let's do his little cheeks. I don't know what it is about hedgehogs, but I just think they're so cute. And so does my mom. Yep. I think that looks really cute. I'm with you. I'm with you. Okay, so it is going to be hard for me to kind of put these away because I have just fallen in love. Actually, it's the medium one. Like, I've learned what colors I like for certain things, and so that's always easy for me. Like, I know if I'm going to be doing some foliage, I'm going to grab this dull green blend. But I know that I am going to really like the fact that I know that my markers are going to match exactly. That's very important to me. So I am excited about that. But I also know that you all don't have all of that. So we're going to use what you do have and what I do have. I do have. There you go. That's good English, right? All right. I'm just going to follow with the dark, kind of this little outline, giving it just a little bit of a shading. I don't want to do too much. I don't want it to stand out too much, but I've got it there. All right. And then we're just going to go into... I made myself a little cheat sheet. I'm making it a little bit darker than the one that was there, as you can see. And I'm bringing in the darkest of the burnt orange blend, and that's going to be in the center. One of the reasons why I like to change it up is so that you can feel comfortable about changing it up. You don't have to do it exactly like the way I do it. I want you to kind of have fun the way that you want to do it and make it your own. And so now I'm just going to take, this is the citrus blend, and I'm going with the darkest, and I'm just kind of doing on the little creases. All right, and then what we're going to do is go with the medium and just kind of come on our way out to kind of blend that in. And then at the tips, I'm going to do the lightest. So again, just there's no rhyme or reason really. It's just the darkest, you know, would make sense to be in the middle because that's the part that's going to have the least amount of sun getting to it. But as the sun's getting to the other, we're kind of making that a little bit lighter on the edges. So that's why I chose to do it this way. Okay, I'm saddened that this isn't going to be our last stamp of the month, but I'm excited for things to come. I really am. I think that they're going to do some great things. We've been kind of talking to them and talking about some things lately, and Stampin' Up has been wonderful. I have to be honest. They have been so wonderful to the Close to My Heart consultants or makers coming over, trying to get everything for us, knowing that this is one of the hardest things that they've had to do. Sorry about that noise. I know that sounds terrible. Okay, so now we're just going to kind of put this together and then we'll fill in the rest. All right, so now it's literally just layering. We're going to take in, this is our royal. We're going to bring in our royal and we're just going to center this piece to the back or to the center of the royal. All right. And then we're just going to center this. Now, I'm going to tell you, whenever you use to put anything to glitter paper, it is always a huge help to have glue dots. Okay, glue dots are going to kind of make it or break it. Any other time that I've used anything besides glue dots, I mean, I can use red line tape, but regular adhesive or liquid adhesive never works quite as well. It just is not able to kind of grab it like it needs to and stay there. And I don't know if this kind of just gets in between the fibers of the glitter and does a better job holding on or what, but highly recommend and suggest that you use your glue dots whenever you're using your glitter paper. And Zeta, when you do get on here and watch, this one's for you, babe. I know that you love your purples. So as I was creating this with the purple, I almost made it with the blue because, you know, I love blue. And so I wanted to do it with the Journey, but I grabbed the purple and said, this is for you, Zeta. So I hope you enjoy. All right. And my ribbon is getting stuck. I put ribbon around my glue dots. I'll show you this little trick I've got. But I put it around there. That way it does not, it doesn't unravel and then get stuck. All the glue dots get stuck to everything. But if you can see, look how funny is this. If you can see all those little marks, you know what those are from? Those would be from Nisi, my dog. The little German Shepherd. Ha ha ha, not little. But she decided, that looks interesting. Let me chew that. And now it has little marks. But because I had the ribbon there, all my glue dots are still there instead of in her mouth. So hey, nobody's going to complain, right? All right, so this is what happens with your paper when you use paper and you use tri-blends, but that's okay. Or you use any kind of alcohol marker, it is going to seep through. So it is nice to have something like underneath it because that's going to kind of help. There we go. Going to help it kind of like seep into that rather than just sit on the top. It's going to help it dry better, do all of those things. All right, now we're just going to go ahead and put this to the center of our card base. All right. And then what I did was on your supply list, again, this is something else that my sweet little dog got too. You can see little teeth marks on here. Yep, that was wonderful, right? You gotta love her. Right, we're gonna use the lavender lace and we're gonna use this as if this was kind of like your gems or anything like that. And you can just, as you'd like, what I would suggest is when you put them down, put them like, squeeze out a bigger spot and then do a smaller one and then like a medium. So it's kind of like you are using the gems where you might change the sides, okay? And then I'm gonna kind of come up here. And the other thing, if you're using the pearls, if you'll notice, it almost ends like in a Hershey kiss. So instead of it being in a Hershey kiss, what I tend to do is I'll just kind of plop it like that on my paper so that it can fall a little bit and it won't give it that, that Hershey kiss type thing. And so just by tapping it a little bit, I know that that's going to happen. If you look over here, you can see the ones that as they dried, I got just a nice little hill or mountain and not that little Hershey kiss that you're going to see there. You can maybe see it a little bit better. I'm trying to hold it up so you can see it, but if you can see, okay, so just by tapping it a little bit and then leaving it to dry, it will do much, much better. And then we're just gonna set this off to the side to dry and finish. And that was super easy, super, super easy. So we're just gonna put that one aside. I hope you liked it. I love the little color to it. In fact, I wanna add another couple dots, because I feel like this spot over here is empty. And I think in your kit, you guys have a little butterfly, so feel free to put your butterfly on here. I ran out of the butterflies before I was able to save myself one. I wanted to make sure you all got them. So I don't have one, but on yours you could, and you could have it kind of like I had on my original where it's kind of flying to the flower. Or you can kind of have it off over here. So wherever you want, but just go ahead and have fun with it. Just add a little bit of sparkle as we've got here from our glitter paper, and then adding that as well will help. And so there's card number 1. All right, so here we're gonna work on card number 2. Now this one's a little unique because I brought in 2 options for you to see. And what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna create, obviously you can see, we're gonna create a rainbow. But you may have a different arrangement of your colors. As you can see, I've got 2 different arrangements, and everybody's gonna have kind of different depending upon how I was able to cut the paper and all of that. So don't feel like it has to go in a specific order. Basically what you're looking for is just to be able to put it in the order of smallest to largest. So this is going to be your kit for this this card. And so we're going to go ahead and open up the kit. Okay, and then here you've got your card base, and you can decide whether you want the light or the dark to show. It's totally up to you. I prefer the light, so I usually fold it so that I have the light on the outside. But if you like the darker on the outside, you can feel free to do that as well. Okay, so just to kind of get pieces off my work surface and so that we can work, we're going to take this white piece, and this white piece is actually going to go in the center of our card here. Okay, so let's go ahead and lay that down. That way it's, like I said, it's out of our way. We don't have to worry about it or think about it. There you go. And then there's our base. Now for this piece, this is what we're actually going to use. That's going to go right here, and we're going to put these pieces to it. So this is going to kind of be our template. So what I want you to do is we're just going to set this other piece to the side, and we're just going to line these up before we do anything else. We're just going to kind of set these out, largest to smallest, and it might take a minute to figure out which is which. And then also you can turn them and decide which side you want. Of course, you know, with Close to My Heart, you've got two different sides, the true color, and then you'll have a lighter shade. And so this is where you, again, kind of get to make this your own. And so I'm just doing that. I'm just kind of laying it out. Lightest to darkest. Let's see, I might want to use the true. I believe that's Clover. I am afraid I'm going to struggle having to learn all of the Stampin' Up colors. They have several that are like two names or two words instead of one. And, you know, I feel like I've done well for 19 years learning all of these colors, but now if you add new ones, what am I going to do? So we'll see. You can laugh at me and join me. How's that? All right, and so we'll do this one. And then there you go. And I actually might want to change a couple of these colors. Let me see what I think of those. So just play with it until you find what you like, okay? Then what I'm going to suggest is for this that you use liquid adhesive. And the reason being, as you can see, some of them as I laid them down didn't come all the way to the bottom or whatever. And this is going to give you a little bit of extra movement to be able to have, and without it, you know, adhering straight down, where with tape, you know, it's going down and there's not much moving it. So I'm just going to use that. Well, gotta get my liquid adhesive going. Okay, so this is what happens when you're crafting and you forget and you take your, or you leave your lid off. So I've got another one, that way I don't have to mess with this. Let me get this other one. All right, so what are we gonna do going forward? Let's talk about that while we're all working on this. So what I still really want to create with y'all, and I really appreciate all the time and effort that you give me when we create, and that you choose to use me as your demonstrator. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me because I know that there's a lot of other demonstrators out there. But I love the relationships that we're able to have and the things that we're able to create. And so one of the things I love to do is I just love to just create with people, and then also just to kind of thank them for creating with me, really. I mean, it blesses me, like I said. So what I've decided is that it's going to kind of be a twofold thing that we're going to do. I am still going to create. And for those of you who spend $50 each month with me, you will be able to still get a kit in the mail that will be unique We'll show it, you know, to everybody, but this, you'll have all the instructions, you'll know exactly what you're doing, and we'll have fun with it. I'm still going to create my monthly workshops that we're going to do. The monthly workshops are going to be a little bit different because I'm not going to do the full workshop online. I know many of you guys are not able to join me, and I want you to be able to do it while you're at a retreat, like if you were to come here for a retreat or someplace else like that. I want you to be able to, I'm moving this around. I can't talk and move around apparently at the same time. All right, I'm going to take these off like this. So remember what I want to do. All right. The other thing you can do too, I think this is going to be easier and less messy. I'm just going to kind of put a little bit here like this, since I know I'm going to end up filling that whole space. And, all right. Hold on one second. That got a little bit goobery, so I wanted to fix that real quick. All right. So what we're going to do is we're still going to have, you know, like I said, I'm going to do the workshops, that kind of thing. And I'm still going to be sending little thank yous. Now, my thing, I love to do cards, and you'll see me do cards, but my number one thing to do is always layouts. And I know that going with Stampin' Up right now, that's not something that they really have a focus on yet. It is coming. I can promise you that. We've had many, many conversations with them. We know that it is coming, but obviously, again, it's not there. Now, one thing I want to say real quick is this one seems to be a little short for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Well, that tells you why. I didn't push it all the way down, but it has already started to dry. I'm not worried about that because I have, if you look at my original, I have some clouds here that I'm going to end up putting up over there. So if you struggle with that, don't worry about it, okay? Just do your best. Let's get them laid down, and we're going to be able to fix that, not a problem. All right, so I'm going to, my focus is really going to be on scrapbooking. I am still going to do like the cards, interactive cards, kind of like this occasionally, but this will not be the main focus. Now, I am also going to offer something. I'm sure many of you guys have heard of the Paper Pumpkin subscriptions that they have. And right now, that is all card making. They do have other kits and other things that they offer, but the Paper Pumpkin is really all scrapbooking currently. We do believe that they are going to eventually offer something scrapbooking related, but the card making is the focus. And so my goal to do, if you should choose to get a Paper Pumpkin subscription, and I'm going to be showcasing it here, you know, here and there over the next couple weeks, some different kits that they've had, but my goal is to do two things. One, to create with you, show you how easy they really are to create and really how beautiful they are. If you've not heard of the Paper Pumpkin, it is a complete kit that comes to you. It's mailed to you. It's got the stamp involved. It's got the whole kit involved, the papers, everything. In fact, I may open up, I just received my newest one, so I may open it up for you all to see what the newest one is for June. And you can see what it is. But my goal is to create a couple like the way that they've shown. And then two, we're going to put this on right here. We're going to bring it down. We want to kind of create a little outline, just like if we were scrapbooking or, you know, had a picture frame, that kind of thing. We would bring it down just a little bit, and then we're going to put that down. All right. And so this one looks a little wonky, but I promise it's going to get better. I promise, I promise. So see, we have these little things, and that's going to cover it right up. So we're not going to have to worry about it at all. The only thing before we do that, though, is we do want to stamp any sentiment that we want to use on here. So again, I'm just going to pull in my black ink. I do like how I did this one here where I did hello friend. Okay, so before you put anything on, hold on, because we're going to do one more thing with this, but I want to show you the hello friend real quick. Those are two separate stamps, and so we're going to stamp those separately and then but I know that I want to lay them out, or that I want to put both of them here. So as I go to make the stamp, I'm going to make sure that I give it plenty of space to do so. Okay, so back to what we were talking about. So I plan to, with the Paper Pumpkin, I plan to do a couple with you that are the way that the kit shows. Okay, you'll have all the instructions, you'll have everything in there for that. But then I plan to help you see how you can use, if you don't want to create all the cards and all the things there, then I plan to help you create something additional, whether it be additional cards or projects. But my overall theme and idea is going to be to try and incorporate it into a workshop of a like double page layout. That is my intent and my goal. You'd already have all the products. We try and stick to that, maybe using some other little supplies that we'd have in our stash. But that would be like how you'd be able to change it. So it's kind of like a stamp of the month, except it's a kit of the month that you're getting. And a lot of the stamps of the month were card related. And so by creating like the phrase or whatever was on there, like this one was more card related, right? Now, obviously here in a few minutes, we're going to make it into a layout. So it's kind of the same premise or theme. We're just going to use it because it's something that you'd already have. So if you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, it's something that you would automatically be a part of. And we will have a separate group for our Paper Pumpkin people. Say that 3 times fast. And then, but it's something that, you know, you guys would have the privilege of seeing all on your own. And then for those others who choose not to do the Paper Pumpkin, but still choose to use me as your consultant or your demonstrator, same thing as we've done before, we'll have a different type of project where I will still, you know, say thank you and be able to have. So it's just you'll have more in your pocket with a Paper Pumpkin when you're done than you would with this, because it comes with a full stamp set, just like the Stamp of the Month. All right, so what we're going to do with this, or one thing I want to show you, and this is totally up to you if you want to, I have 2 versions here, okay? The difference in my 2 versions is this is a flat right now, just like you saw me just glue it down. All right, if you look, you can see all the colors are completely flat. They're laid out. They're done. But if you look at this one, it has some texture to it, and I love that texture. See how it is? What I did here was I just took one of my embossing folders and I just put this through with my embossing. Now, the way I had originally done it was before I had stuck it to here, but that's okay. I can still do it as it stuck to here. I'm just going to open this up and do it so it's only this section, okay? So that's kind of what you want to look at as you do. So any embossing folder that you have, this will work. You may like some more than others. I used the Kaleidoscope embossing folder on this one originally. Here are a bunch of different folders I have. Truly, any of these are going to work. I think the tighter the design, the better. Isn't that pretty, by the way? That is called Zentangling. I had a lady here, or a whole group here actually, who does Zentangling, and they hand drew that and then color it in, and it's amazing all that they do. They've given me several cards, and they come around the fall. They even took a couple plastic pumpkins, and they each drew a different design on the plastic pumpkins, and so I set that out here. I absolutely love it. All right, what I think I'm going to do is, I really, really like this love, life, hello, all of that. So I think that's what I'm going to use here so that you can see some of the sayings. So I'm just going to take this off and come over here to my die cut machine. Now, you know, from all the times I've done this, I can't do this on camera because it will shake my camera too much. And so I don't want to give anybody a headache, but I'm just going to put this into my machine. And I've got to be careful because I have all those words here. I want to make sure the words are going to show up as much as I can. So as you can see here, it's actually hanging out just a little bit on the sides. But again, I'm not really worried about that because I'm going to have my clouds kind of there. All right, let's see what we've got. I did peel it off of, that's what you're hearing. I apologize, but I did peel it off of the base just so I can make sure I could get it all in there, or as much as I could. So if you're able to do that, if you put it with tape, then that's the better way to go. But I think that that is so cool. If you look at it, I don't know how that's coming through on the camera, but you can see the today, love, life, happy. Like, it's just got a really fun detail on it that I think, you know, it just adds to the card. And it was so simple. Just by doing the base of it, we're able to get that texture, and I love it. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm going to take one of my clouds, and I'm just going to stick it directly on, and it can be on the left or the right, whatever side you do, that's where your little hedgehog is going to go. Okay, so as you can see here, I did it on the right side on this one, on the other I did the left. I want to make sure you can see both of those. So it really doesn't matter, it's totally whatever you want to do. I think I'll just kind of do it like this, and then I'm going to put hello friend here. All right, there we go. Actually, before I put this one down, I do want to add 3D foam tape to that one. I got ahead of myself there for a minute, so hold on one second. Let me grab some 3D foam tape. Now, if you're like me, I have a bunch of foam tape. I think I had talked to you guys about it quite often, that I love to use the shaker pieces for my foam tape, and then eventually I'll end up going to the dimensionals that they carry at Stampin' Up, and they're very similar to this. They don't have any long pieces, so that again is something that we're talking to them about, saying with scrapbooking we really need some long pieces. And I will tell you, if you didn't know this, but if you've watched any of the videos from Close to My Heart over the years, and you've seen Karen Pedersen, she was the director of the creative department. She did go over to Stampin' Up. And so we're very excited to have her there, because we know that she's going to bring the heart of what we've all come to love and enjoy. She's going to be bringing it there as well. So that's very exciting. All right, so next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and if you have not already, go ahead and cut out some of your hedgehogs. I have cut out a few, and the one that you're seeing right here, I did with the textured watercolor paper. Now, again, I'm not doing watercolor on this. I easily could, because I'm using pencils, but I'm not even using watercolor pencils. Again, I easily could, but I chose not to. What I really was looking for was that texture. Do you see the difference in the texture that you're able to get when you use pencils and watercolor paper? It's pretty amazing to me. And so I love doing that when I've got any kind of, like I said earlier, any kind of animal, anything like that. And so that's what I'm going to do here. So we're just going to, now again, if you want to, you can use your markers. You won't really see the texture as much, but if that's what you have, feel free to use your markers. I am pulling in the colored pencils, and I'm just trying to decide right now what I want to do for my flower. Here I did the yellow, there I did the blue. Let's see what else. I think I'm just going to do, I'm going to color in the center area with the orange. And then bring in some yellow. Keep it really, really bright and vibrant, because that's what this rainbow card is supposed to be. It's supposed to be very bright and vibrant and bringing lots of joy and happiness, right? All right. And then I'm just going to, now I'm going to pop him up so that it's kind of the same on this side. We want him to be raised as well. So same thing, I'm just bringing in some of my foam tape, spreading it out. I'm not as insane about foam tape as people like Karen Pedersen, but you know, I still like to have that dimension. Okay, for something that's so small as the top of that leaf, I am going to cut one of these pieces in half and put it right there. That way it still gets the same lift and it's not, it doesn't end up bending down, because I want everything to kind of have the same dimension. I don't want the, you know, the hedgehog to be lifted and then all of a sudden the leaf is kind of pressed down more towards my, my card. And there you go. All right. So that is right there. That is kind of the difference in the cards. So as you can see, you can do this in any color arrangement. It doesn't have to be in one particular. This just happened to lay out pretty much the same down here at the bottom, and these are different. But truly that was not intended. It was just divvying them all out and how they ended up. So yours may look similar or may look a little different. I'm not really sure. But hopefully either way you enjoy it. All right, so we're going to do our last project, which is a double page layout. So I'm going to have you go ahead and, oh, sorry, before we move on, let's go ahead and take, I forgot I gave you guys these. Let's go ahead and take these, and we're just going to kind of put those around the rainbow. These are our little clear gems, sparkles, and I love them. Anytime I can add just a little bit of bling or something like that, I'm going to. There we go. All right, so we've got a little bit of sparkle in both of our projects so far, right? So I hope you like that. So we are going to work on our layout, our last project of the night. But before we start that, let's take a look at the paper pumpkin for this month. I have not even had a chance to open up the package. So you and I are going to see this together for the first time. We got one when we signed up and became a demonstrator. They did send us one in our kit, so I do have that one. But this is the one for June. I did sign up. And again, so that we can create these together. I think it's going to be really fun to already have everything together there. And then for me to be able to say, okay, in addition to this, make sure you save out this or this, and let's create this together. Now, if you love the kits, then you just do it the way you want to do it, and you don't have to follow me. But it might give you an idea for some of the other kits or other pieces, okay? So this is because this is my first box or a subscription box. It's got a little bit more in there than every other month being. And so it's basically, thank you for choosing Paper Pumpkin. They teach you, if you've never stamped before, how to make them stamp. And then they send you this little stamp set right here. And so this one, obviously it says thanks. Wish you were here. Life is so much sweeter with friends like you. You're truly amazing. Sweet friend, sending big squeeze. So much to celebrate. Now it comes just like this. It does not come in a case. However, they do have on their site, and I'm going to also have them and kind of adjust it a little bit so you can see a little bit more than just what they have. But they do have it where you can download off of the website a flyer that you can put inside a case so that you can keep everything together, and it will fit on your shelf just like their other stamp sets. And so we'll talk more about those as we can move forward, but that just kind of helps you. All right, so this says Paper Pumpkin Basics. Say hello to your new stamping block. And so obviously you guys know what we need these for. You guys have been stamping with me for long enough, but this is their block that it comes with. So similar to the blocks that we used to have with our Craft with Heart card making kit. Okay, so this obviously, the stamps are going to be able to fit on here. You're going to be able to use this with this kit. All right, let's see what's below the paper. All right, so we're getting the Shy Shamrock stamping spot. Again, I've not seen into this kit at all. It just came. You watched me unbox it. So they give us little sneak peeks at times, but I really don't know everything that's in there. So this is about that color Shy Shamrock. And then if you open it up, it's got this kit in it. So let's look and see what this kit is. And this is a good box too. I heard some people like to give their grandkids. Mary Lee, I think I saw that you had told others that you like to give your grandkids these so that they can put their small Lego sets in there. That's a really good idea, actually. All right, let's open this up. So I know this isn't part of our workshop, but this is kind of a tidbit of what some of the things are that I'm going to be doing moving forward. So that's why I wanted to do this together. All right, so I love that it comes with embellishments. How fun is that? So it looks like they've got like little spots, maybe glue spots, and then these gems. You're also getting some tape adhesive. So this is the type of tape adhesive that they use. It's like tear tape. Literally, you just lay it down and tear it. And of course, the liquid adhesive that you saw me use earlier. And then we've also got a small amount of twine. And this is different every month. Every month it's a different kit, a different backdrop, a different theme, that kind of thing. So these are the cards or the envelopes. How cute are those? They've got a different like little scallop design there. You've got like a peach color. I'm going to assume that this matches the Shy Shamrock. You got a pretty pink color. Then you've got, oh, look at those little die cuts. Let's pull this out and look. Ah, Mary Lee, did you hear me just talking about you just a second ago? I love that. Okay, yep, and here is the little die cut. So, and that is so intricate and so pretty. I love that. And then it's also got vellum in the kit. Mary Lee, have you started creating with yours yet? All right. And then let's see. So I'll put that back in there. I'm afraid I'm going to end up tearing them, so that's why I want to do that. And then here are our card bases. So it almost looks like a swashed background or a watercolor background. Ah, gotcha. All right, so see, Mary Lee, she's on top of it. She knows. She's actually been a demonstrator with Stampin' Up! For quite a while. And so I've seen her play with these kits for many years. And the nice thing about these that I will tell you too is you kind of get a small, tiny preview each month of what it's going to look like. And these are like little die cuts for your sentiments, that kind of thing that you can use. Then you've got something that looks like lemons. Those are cute. And then there's, again, there's some more card bases. And then here is the peach. So if you see something like on the, see something with these and you're like, oh, I don't think that that's me. You know, I'm not into fruit. I don't want to have anything to do with fruit. You can actually skip a month. You can do a subscription or you can do it month to month, and it's totally up to you how you want to do them. I did a subscription because you end up saving yourself some money down the road. And so, but if there was one month that I was like, that just is not something I want to play with, you can go in and you can actually skip that month. And so you just have to do it by the 10th of the month. And then they usually ship, I believe, on the 11th. It says, Mary Lee said, lots of people use the envelopes to make additional cards, also cut the card bases in half to get more cards. Absolutely. Absolutely. See, she's got lots of ideas. So here we go. And so again, we've got some intricate die cuts. Those are beautiful. And then for those of you like me who like our bling, we've got some, these are actually die cuts that are in the glitter paper. And it's, let's see what I can see. I see you, miss, hello. Some of them are upside down and backwards, so I'm having to, but I think that's it. You, miss, and hello. And congrats. And so that's really cool. You can just pop these out. And then there you go. Just be careful because you don't want to tear them. Might be better to take your scissors and kind of just pop them out just really gently along the edges, just like that. All right. So I'm going to leave that in there because I don't want to lose any of my pieces, but that just shows a quick way you can do it. And then you've got some more vellum pieces. And then you've also got these that are really, really cute. So yeah, I mean, you get quite a bit in here with the paper pumpkin, and I really, really like that. I like that you have lots of options, and like Mary Lee said, there's a lot of different ways that you can do them, and that's going to be my My goal is to show you different ways that we can use these and then create something. My idea is a layout with these. I want to be able to take this and show maybe like one of each cards of how you can create the cards themselves. And then if you're interested, you can create, turn them into a layout. So that's my goal. Okay, so it may take me a little bit of time to get there, but I will get there, I promise. I just got this one, and this is for our June, so I'm going to be working with it. And then again, anybody who signs up for their June paper pumpkin, I'll bring you into our paper pumpkin group, and you'll be able to create these with me, and not just the cards, but again, a layout that we can create. And so I'll be talking to you more about that as we come through, but this is what the instructions show. That was actually at the back, so we didn't even see that to begin with, but it shows you kind of what they should look like when they're done if you create them the way that they show them, and all are super cute. You got to see all the designs and all the pieces with it. And so, and it shows you exactly like what you're going to need for each thing and where you put it. So it looks like very good step-by-step instructions, things that you can use this for, and it even opens up like that. So how perfect. And then the other thing that's nice is, look, you've got a measurement here. So if you need a measurement for something like for cutting your twine. So really they thought ahead on this, trying to give you as much as they could to help you be able to create, showing you all the things that you needed. And so, and again, like Marilee said, you have all the glue pieces that you would need. If not the tape, these are glue pieces here, and then you have some of your sparkles here. So lots of fun. I think we're going to have a lot of fun creating this together. And again, we'll do one of each card for sure. And then we may kind of change it up a little bit and do some other cards with it. But my goal is to make some of it into at least a double page layout so that we're taking it from cards and we can be able to use our supplies into layouts as well. So keep a watch for that, but that is kind of what I'm thinking for the stamp of the month option is an option of something that we can be doing as well. Yes, there you go, Mary Lee. We're thinking on the same page. We do want to create those 2-page layouts. And she said, all you need is scissors. And that's exactly what I'm seeing as I go through here too. And again, she's been doing this for many years. So hopefully she'll be able to join us and we'll have some fun creating together. She can give us some tidbits on this as well. So, but as you see, this is everything that comes there when you're done, or you only have a few minutes to work on it, and you went to the library, you're waiting on grandkids or something like that, and you're done, you can just put it right back into your paper pumpkin box and then take it with you. And then again, when you're done, just let the grandkids use it for your Legos. So that's what this month's paper pumpkin is. So I'm glad we got to open that together. We all kind of get to see what it looks like. That's exciting to me. All right. Oh, let me put this back too. I don't want to miss that. All right, so now let's go ahead and work on our final project for the little hedgehogs. All right, so we are going to be doing this double page layout. And so this is kind of the idea that I have continuing to go forward. I still plan to create lots of layouts with you, not just with the paper pumpkins, but with other things. And so my goal is to be able to show you different ways that you can do that. And so the only thing I'm going to request from you guys that I'm going to kind of change up a little bit, and I started with this workshop, is most likely the base pages I'm not going to include in the kit because it's just too expensive and too hard to ship everyone the 12 by 12 pages. But I'll let you know ahead of time what colors you need. A lot of times we'll stick to the white because I know that that's a little bit easier to get. Right now, Stampin' Up! Does not have all of their colors in 12 by 12. Well, I take that back. They do, but they're in multi-packs. They don't allow you yet to buy larger quantity packs. And so you're going to have to get all the colors just to get a couple different multiples of the same. So for now, we're going to stick or try and do our best to stick with the white. And I am going to be using some close to my heart paper going forward because we all have it and I want to use it. I want us to appreciate our investment, use our investment that we had. And then obviously when we run out of that, we're going to be using Stampin' Up! Colors and that kind of thing going forward. The boxes are super to hold blends or Stampin' spots as well. There you go. All right, so she's got lots of ideas, and I'm sure we're going to see lots of different ways to do it as well. So it's a good, I think I've even seen some people kind of color, or I'm sorry, not color, cover the outside of their boxes and then be able to use them on their shelves, and it matches their decor, and then they can use them for different projects and such. So anyway, all right, so this is the layout we're going to create. And so go ahead and grab your first piece of your 12 by 12. All right, and then you have this little kit in your pack, and we're just going to go ahead and open this up. And this one, honestly, I think is going to come together pretty quickly. But hopefully you're going to have some fun with it and kind of see, you know, you may not always be able to use the sentiments. Right now, a lot of Stampin' Up! Sentiments are card related, but some of the images you can still use for your layouts. And so that's what I wanted you to see with this. We're able to use our Cricut. We're able to use some other colors that we have used in the past, or other stamps that we've used in the past. We can still use them. They were the investment we put in because it was a design that we liked. And so we can still use them, and don't ever think that you can't. Now I wanted to show you real quick, obviously, again, we have the two-tone cardstock. That is something Stampin' Up! Does not have yet, but they are working on bringing in. But while we have it, let's enjoy it, right? And so for the original creation that I had, I used, this is our Glacier color, and I used the True Tone Glacier. It's up to you if you want to use True Tone or if you want to use the lighter. I think just to kind of play, I'm going to do the lighter, and we can compare it at the end. So let's go ahead and put some lighter on here. And then we're just going to put this all the way to the very top. Okay, and then I'm going to do, now, and I apologize, I should have said this. This is the larger piece up here, and then you have two smaller pieces, and those are going to be what we put at the bottom. So I'm going to put this smaller piece down here at the bottom, and then I've got my larger piece there that I'll do on the second page. All right, now we've got our larger piece of our pattern paper. We're going to put this right here. Now this is a layout that I did get from one of our how-to books. I highly encourage you, use your how-to books. They are such a wealth of information, a great way now that we don't have the layouts yet the way that we're used to getting them. This is a great way to use up those extra papers, is go to those layouts and recreate them using the current papers that you have. Okay, I want us to kind of look and see that. Oop, 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 oop. I think it got stuck. There we go. All right. And we're going to stick this one right here. There we go. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get this off of my area so that I have a little bit more area to see. Okay, we're going to take these two pieces, and I want to, if I put this on my mat, I'm going to come up. I want to make sure I tell you exactly. So I'm going to bring in my original. Yep, that's what I thought. Okay, so at 2 inches from the bottom and centered in the page, which is about 1/4 of an inch from both ends, we're going to go ahead and put this strip here of our red scarlet. And again, it is 2 inches from the bottom and about 1/4 of an inch in. And I need to move mine over just a little bit. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to put this centered right above it. So it's not going to go all the way from the same. It's a little bit shorter if you noticed. And there you go. We're just having that centered. All right. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to our kit and we're just going to take out some of these extra little pieces that we have. So we have our black bases. Now I did not send, I wanna check this again before I commit, but I did not send a photo placeholders. So you will not have those for this part, but you don't really need those for what we're about to do. We're gonna put this one here in the center, and this is gonna be kind of, I'm gonna lay this out before I start sticking it down, okay? This is gonna be in the center, and then these are gonna overlap just a little bit and kind of be at an angle, just like that. So when you go to put your adhesive down, you just wanna make sure you don't put adhesive on the back of those black spots so that it doesn't inhibit you from putting your picture completely down, right? So let's go ahead and put the center down first. This is your 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 placeholder. Okay. Then I'm going to take my black placeholder and I'm going to put it all on that one side and not any adhesive on this side. That should still be plenty to hold it in place. And I can always go back after I put my photos on it. I can always go back and add more adhesive, but I don't want to inhibit it from whoops, and I just did it. So let me turn that upside down or turn that back, and then there we go. And that way I can put my photos there and not have to worry about it. So I am having it touch here at the top just barely, but it's coming down at an angle over here. So I hope you guys can see that well. And that will give it a nice little sway like you can see here. So it's going to kind of go across the board. So that's what that's going to look like right there, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to take this piece here and we're going to stick this right behind it. And my big fingers get in the way quite often. So I'm going to just lift that just a little bit and put that down. Perfect. All right, and then we have a couple other little things. So we've got friends here, and the F is separate, so don't think that I just broke it and it came off. It is done separately. And then I have this print and cut that I was able to do on the Cricut and my printer, and that's how I was able to get this for forever. And so that is a nice little thing you may be seeing come a little bit more often as we're waiting on more stamps and such to come through, the larger scrapbooking stamps. We may use a little bit more of the print and cut. So you may be seeing some of that. It's a really good feature that I like, that we can kind of put together, and you don't have to like do all of the words basically. And so this one, the only thing you got to think about is, and I want to make sure I do this right, the swag is a little bit long in order to fit the forever. So you've got to find which side it's going to go on there, it's going to fit. And so originally I was putting it on the wrong side, but now this one fits so much better. And not wrong side, I guess I just had it flipped upside down. So you may want to lay it down before you put your adhesive. And then we're just going to put this right here. And I'm going to tuck it over to the left a little bit more. And then I'm just going to adhere this down. Because I want us to put our friends, forever friends, but I'm going to put a big, let's look at this real quick. I'm going to stamp out my image here of my floral, and then we're going to put that here as our dot for the eye. So I want to make sure I have plenty of room for my flower. So let's go ahead and put adhesive down. I've got the top of the F right at the very top of my polka dotted paper, if that helps you with your placement. And then again, we're just kind of adding a little bit of this. All right, and then there you go. All right, so we're gonna come back and add that little piece here in a little bit. But for right now, we've got this page done. So I want, before I lose any more pieces, I wanna go ahead and we're gonna embellish and do that piece at the end, but we're gonna lay out the last page. All right, so again, we're gonna bring in another white base and we're gonna literally just line it up kind of like we did on the first one. So we're gonna have our widest of the glacier. We're gonna put that at the top. Now I will tell you, if you, we talked about the glass mat at the very beginning, if you hear it kind of moving a little bit, the reason is, it normally stays put very, very well. But the reason is, in order for me to be able to teach tonight, I had, and you not to get a terrible glare, which I can see you're seeing a little bit there, I had to raise it up a little bit so that it would be at an angle and you wouldn't have a glare all the way through it. And so with that, it's a little bit more wonky, but typically I don't have that underneath me and it works very, very well. It's not going to move. And so you're not going to have that wiggleness or that wobbly, but that's what I needed to do tonight in order to not blind you as we're creating. And I may come up with a better option here in a little bit. Now, the interesting thing about this is these are both 12 by 12 papers. And if you notice, I don't have anything hanging off the edge over here, but I have a little bit on one side of my white. And every once in a while, Close to My Heart used to make their white paper just a little bit longer. I always wondered, did I just like miscalculate or miscut? But when you have a full 12 by 12 piece, you know it's not something you did. It is what it is if it's not hanging over. So when we're finished, I will put this in my trimmer and just trim off that little itty bitty piece of the white there. All right, so let's go ahead and bring in our polka dot piece. See, I already thought I lost a piece, but I didn't. I just set it on the other side. All right. We're putting this here at the top. All right. That got caught up on my other piece of paper, so I've got to make sure I put something there, I think. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing. So 2 inches from the bottom coming up, we're going to put our little scarlet piece of cardstock. And again, it's 1/4 inch. From the edge. Then we're going to take our yellow, and I don't know if you've noticed, I have not pointed this out, but I'm using paper from 2 different paper packs. And again, this is what I really love when you follow with a company. With Close to My Heart, their colors that are on their pattern paper match so well together all across the paper packs. And so even though I'm using a travel paper here, and then this was actually a Christmas paper from a few years ago, all of my paper colors are matching. And the nice thing is Stampin' Up does the same thing. So that does excite me that we're going to be able to continue knowing that our papers and our colors are all going to match across the board. And so I think this went down just a little bit, so I'm going to adjust it. All right, just like that. All right, that looks good. All right, so now for this, we've got, this is going to be our largest photo mat here. And then we're going to have 2 more photo mats. The only thing is, this is kind of how they're going to be. This one's a little cockeyed, and then this one's a little bit more cockeyed. But this is going to be kind of our journaling piece, and this larger piece here is going to be raised up with 3D foam tape. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now so I don't forget. So we're just going to pop it up with 3D foam tape. And it's always nice to add, a lot of times we only pop things up that are kind of, you know, the embellishments or the things around our photos. But every once in a while, it's really nice to kind of pop a photo up that maybe is the photo, the main photo of the layout. You know, it just kind of draws your attention again to the photo. It changes things up from maybe the way you normally do. So again, that's going to, again, draw more photos or more focus to that photo. And not just the cute little hedgehog that's in the picture, right? All right, so I've got all of these here. I don't have to take the backing off of all of them. I have a habit of doing so just because I get into the, you know, I get into the movement of doing it. But you can take off, you know, several. Just make sure you do it all along the edges so you're not having any edges kind of stick up. And then, oh, I've got most of them. Hold on one second. If you had the roll tape, then absolutely that's going to be a lot easier. So we're just going to put this down about 1/8 of an inch from the left edge and 1/2 of an inch over the top of the other paper that's there. So 1/8 of an inch and 1/2 of an inch on top of the pattern paper that's there. Okay. Then this piece right here is going to go straight down and at an angle, just like that. And then this one's going to do the same thing at an angle. It is going to overlap this photo a little bit more. And we want to make sure, again, as a reminder, you don't want to put adhesive right here because you want to make sure that you can get your photo down. So let's do that real quick. I'm going to just do it all the way to that edge. I kind of kept my fingers there as a reminder because I have a habit of saying it and then still doing it, right? All right. I know I'm going to end up, like we talked about, I'm going to end up cutting off a little bit of that paper edge. So I want to tuck this in just a little bit more so that I don't end up cutting that off. If you have the same problem, just make sure, same thing, where you're going to cut it off, your black isn't overhanging there a little bit. All right. Then we're going to take, we've got these 2 pieces here. And we're going to adhere this down. Now I made a mistake and I just saw that I made a mistake. So you get to either adjust or figure out what you want to do. We'll talk about it in a second. All right, so we're going to do this on. This is the problem with me making it and then the layout and then a month later teaching it because I forget all the thoughts and things I was putting onto it. So now this is where you could put like your date or anything like that. We're going to put this right up here at the top. All right, and then we're going to stick that right there. Hopefully more straight than what I just started to put down. There you go. All right, so here's where I made a boo-boo. And you'll have to forgive me. I don't know what I was thinking. A big part of the reason why we put that foam tape here so that we can make a pocket here, okay? And so if it was easy to pull it off, I would say like that one was easy. I was able to pull off that corner, but a lot of it underneath is not going to be quite as easy. And so what you could do is you could actually change this one and make this a pop-up as well, because that one, we've got a good half of it that's not, and then kind of stick a tag below there. So I'll show you though, if you haven't put it together yet, what some options are for you to do. So what we're going to do first is, this is again another Cricut cut that I had done. We're going to go ahead and glue this down to our, I wanted to say cranberry. That is an old color from close to my heart, an old color. To our scarlet, and I'm just going to take some of the liquid and just kind of put it in that small little place little spots. If you have the Close to My Heart adhesive that had the dot adhesive, that's perfect for something like this because it will just roll right over it and it doesn't like put any tape or anything in the middle of like where the letters are or the openings are. It just kind of skips that area almost. So I love that about it. I'm gonna miss that part too. It's okay for us to talk about the things that we're gonna miss because we're gonna have some really good stuff too. So I've kind of come to that conclusion. Like, I love it. I'm not gonna pretend I don't or didn't. But we're gonna make it. It's gonna be okay. Okay, so we have that one, and then you may have either red or you may have yellow. You could have, you know, totally anything you want. This one really, now what I'll show with this one, this was meant to be, I'll bring in my original so you can see what I'm talking about. This one was meant to not move. You see that? So that one's glued down anyway. This is the only one, and I had this one too. Both of those are glued down. This is the only one that was moving. And so I did put foam tape here and I put foam tape there. So if you've not done that part, wait and maybe put that down there. That will help you remember if, you know, since I messed it up and forgot. But what you can do in the meantime is you can put these still, we can cut them off right here. We are still going to tie it here and put those coming from. And then you might be able to put the other larger one back behind here. So we'll play with that in just a second. I want to see how I'm going to fix this. All right. So when I originally started sending this, I wasn't sure I was going to use how much I was going to use. And I ended up sending you like one long piece. And then I realized I'm probably going to need a little bit more. So this piece was meant to be cut in half. And then I realized you're probably going to need some more. So I sent you another smaller piece. So out of these two pieces, you're going to cut that in half and you should have a total of 3. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see. I'll tell you how I do it in a minute because I change it every time, whether I mean to or not. Okay, the way I do it typically is I put it going through from this side where both ends are together, and then the loop, I put it back through the loop so it goes around it, and then it kind of comes out. And some people like that way, some people don't. Honestly, you know what, and I even said that backwards when I looked at it. All right, we're going to do it the other way because that is the way I like it. All right, I just had to look at the other way to determine that. All right, so we're going to have it go from the back to the front. Same thing. I'm bringing it through. I got both ends. I'm bringing it through the little hole, and then there you go. And I think that's a cleaner way of doing it. And if it should like fray a little bit, don't worry. You can just cut off the ends like I'm about to. You don't need super long ones on this. We're going to do the same thing over here. Again, I'm going to cut this one into 2. And there you go. That one didn't fray too much. All right, so now because I know that I've got pieces back there and there's nothing I can do to it, I'm going to just cut these off. This is how I'm fixing mine, okay? And then I'm just going to kind of put these down in here as far as I can have them go in different angles. And that's going to really make the angles kind of pop. So see, so far we can make this, we can change this, right? Okay. If you've followed me for long enough, you know that unfortunately this happens more times than not. So we get to be creative together. And then I've got my tape messing up inside. I know this is the old school tape thing, but you know what? I love that I still have a bunch of the adhesive and then it lasts forever. That just makes me so happy. Okay, so I'm just going to do it like that. And again, this was meant to go here. So if I wanted, you could also, because we don't really have a whole lot going on over here, we could even have this like that and then sticking up. So you can decide which you like better. If you want it kind of there with the others behind it and it kind of sticking past there, or if you want to create a pocket where you're pulling this up just like this, lifting this up with foam tape and putting that down. I think because I'm going to use this as my journaling-ish spot, not really, but where we're going to put our hedgehog, I think that that is where I don't really want to pull it up. I don't want to have too much. It's going to be too busy on that one side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adhere it to the top. Or, see, there's always ideas. Or you could have it, let's see, you could have it kind of down here underneath that, but it's going to be kind of telling the story of it. So totally up to you. I'm sorry, I see that that's not showing very well. Let me move this so you can see that a little bit better. See that you could put that there, and then that would make it look like it's part of that. I think I do like that the best. So I think I'm going to put that there. There you go. And then when you go to write down too, you won't have to worry so much about it being part of it up on top of here and down. You'll have more of a flat surface to write, you know, whatever your journaling is. Okay, so now in your kit, you should have just a few things left. One of them being this white piece of cardstock. So now we're going to do a little bit of our stamping. All right, so our stamping and cutting and coloring and all the fun things. So go ahead. If you have the thin cuts, you can use your thin cut and cut out. We want 2 of the flowers that we use to stamp around the back side of our paper pack, or you can cut it out by hand. So either one is fine, but I'm gonna use my trusty thin cut. I love these, and cut them out. Now, something else I'll tell you that I've learned from Stampin' Up is I've been getting some of their kits and their stamps and that kind of thing. A lot of their die cuts actually have more die cuts than what you see in the stamp set. They will have extra, and that will be because they will go with the paper. And I will be showing you some of those coming forward. But I did want you to know that you don't always get what you think you're going to get. A lot of times you get more. So that's really nice. Sometimes, I know that they have a coffee paper pack. I actually got that one because, you know, if you know me, you know I love coffee. And the dies actually cut out some of the designs in the pattern paper. And I thought that was so cute. And it made it so that you could use more of the designs going forward for whatever it is that you needed. And so that excited me, and so I did get that set, and so I'm sure you're going to be seeing some stuff come through with that soon. All right, so here is, these are going to be for my flowers, but then this is going to be for my stamped image. So I'm just going to bring this back in here. Again, we can use whatever stamped images that you want of any of your hedgehogs. We are going to want to put a sentiment on there, and obviously a little something for you is probably not going to work unless you're showing off that you know, it's a birthday party or something like that for a friend, and so you're giving it to them. But it would work for you to use. I'm so thankful for a friend like you, like I had on one of my other sets. So I'm actually going to put that one down first. Before I do, one of the things I really enjoyed doing was using the glacier ink and a brush and just brushing a little bit of ink behind it. It's going to help bring in the glacier here. Let me get my color. I apologize, I forgot to do this. My brush. But I like to put just a little bit of color behind the sentiment because it's going to help that stick out. And remember, when you're using your regular inks and not your distressed oxide inks, you got to just be a little bit more gentle when you go to the paper and make sure you keep your movement going. That way you don't get just a big old splot. Using these brushes helps a lot, but it's still obviously possible. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to use my intense black for this since I am going to end up end up coloring in my hedgehog. So I'm just putting this right here at the top. That's going to give me plenty of space down here for my hedgehog. My mother has always loved hedgehogs. I don't know if you guys are that way, like you have a animal or something that you just love, you know, to see. My mom is hedgehogs. My sister Misty has always been like mice. I'm trying to remember what Christie's has been. You know what? I like them all. I like them all. I like deer because I feel like God speaks to me through the deer. I just like all of them that are cute, right? I don't know. I like owls though. A lot of times you'll see owls here in my house. I really just like them because I think of the wisdom that we can, you know, that's kind of the wise old owl, I think from Winnie the Pooh or something like that. But you know, I love my, you know, the dogs. I love all of that. So do you have a favorite animal? Is there something that you kind of watch for or look for, or that every time you see, you've just got to have that one? I know for some people it's cows. Some of our cow stamp sets have been very, very popular. But I'd be interested to know if there's something that you love. Now, I know Miss Deanne, when she watches this, it's going to be all about flamingos. Ha, ha, ha. If you know Miss Deanne, you know that she does not love flamingos, but we all think she should. So she gets loved on with lots and lots of flamingos. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my flowers now, because I've got my stamp out. And again, this is going to give it a little bit of time to dry. So don't be intimidated or afraid to use some of these extra, what seems like additional, not the main theme stamps. Don't be intimidated and not use these. These can be great embellishment areas. They can, you know, be something that really is going to be a big deal in the background of something that you're going to want. All right, so I've got this so far. So now we're just going to color it. And I'm going to try and just do a little bit of two things. I'm going to use my colored pencils for the hedgehog, even though that this is flat white daisy and I'm not going to get that look to it. And I chose to do that intentionally. I wanted to make sure that my stamp title was very crisp. And if I tried doing it on the watercolor paper, it wouldn't be quite so crisp. This is watercolor paper, so I didn't have to worry so much about it. I wanted kind of that look for it because I can, again, I'm going to use those for my, or with my colored pencils, but I thought it would give it kind of a softer look, and that's kind of what I was going for. But for down here, I wanted to make sure that, that my title or my words were nice and crisp. So I'm just going to go ahead and start using my colored pencils down here just for the hedgehog to kind of keep them nice and soft and pretty. So let's do, I'm kind of playing with these colors. I want to try some different things. So forgive me that I keep going back and forth. I'm being a little bit more harsh here, like we talked about on the other, because I want it to look like these are his little spikes that are sticking out. They're a little bit darker. So I'm not being super cautious by coloring it in. I'm not coloring in like you typically would. I'm just kind of going through and using that kind of as my shading, and also to make him look, those spikes stand out. And now that I've got that done and that I've taken my edge and it's more of a flat angle, now when I go to color it in, it's going to be a softer color. when I push down or I use that hard angle, it's going to be definitely a much more crisp, darker color. And you're going to kind of get those lines that a lot of times when you're coloring you don't want. But if you're not coloring and you're outlining kind of like that, that's a great way to make those pieces stand out and then be able to go back behind it and follow that up. All right, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and give it, Tiffany had mentioned earlier about putting some pink in the ears and on the cheeks. So we're going to do that again, just a little bit right here, because I think that's cute. Give them little pink cheeks. All right, and then I'm going to bring in just a softer color. I think this will work. And this is just going to be my soft color for his body. Just a real soft. All right. So there you go. So now for the rest of it, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do markers, because I want this to match the other markers or the other papers. And I have some dark reds in those papers from the Scarlet. So I'm going to grab my marker, and then I'm also going to go back to, let me check again. I want to double check before I do it. Yeah. The dull green, I'm going to use the dull green again, but I'm going to use the darker side. Now remember, this is the one is typically my go-to for the leaf. There we go. But I'm trying to kind of go that dark, a little bit darker this time. And again, when you're using, I'm just going to bring in a scrap piece of paper. When you're using alcohol markers, you really want to kind of have something up underneath it, because that's going to kind of draw it together. There we go. All right. So we talked earlier about using the paper pumpkin. And like I said, I really do plan to continue doing something with other things that are not just the paper pumpkin. Okay, so be watching. I'm still trying to figure out exactly, and I don't want to overpromise and not be able to deliver. So that is my goal, is to make sure that I can give you what you want, and that we can do it in a timely manner, and also still be able to do like our larger scrapbook workshops. I'm excited by what is coming from Stampin' Up. They've released or showed us yesterday, they showed us kind of what's going to be coming in July and August. And I think that you're going to be excited. They are a little bit bigger because it was actually intended to be the National Stamping Month, but they could not get their hands on it in time, or not Stamping, Scrapbooking Month in May. They were not able to get it in time. And so they had to kind of postpone the kits. And so the kits will be coming out in July and August. They're going to actually release 2 different kits that they have for that time, but they're going to last for those 2 months. So that'll be good. You can kind of, you know, see it and go ahead and get your hands on it. But do know that there is going to be a little bit more to it than there was in these last kits. The other kit is going to be, if you've been following the gnomes, it is the Summer Gnomes collection. So that'll be the last gnomes kit. Now I have to tell you, I really, really like it. Even if you don't like gnomes, I think that you're going to like it as well. The paper itself is very, very cute. There's only really one piece of paper that says anything with the gnomes. So definitely don't overlook it just because it says Summer Gnomes or you see a gnome there. If you're not a gnomes person, I think you're really going to like it. All right, so there we go. We've got, I'm going to actually color that in just a little bit more. Bring it down in just a little bit more. And you'll see why in a few minutes. All right, so there we go. There's that one. Now for these, we're going to do the same thing, but this time I'm just going to use my yellow colored pencils. Remember, I used my watercolor paper, and so I want my colored pencils to really show the different designs. So I'm going to go kind of harsh along these little edges, you know, little lines here, I guess you could say. And then I'm going to just kind of go back. now that I have an end that's kind of softened, and I'm just going to kind of bring it out from there. I'm going back and forth between pencils and markers. If you just have a favorite medium, or you don't have, you know, one or the other of these, don't feel like you can't do this. You absolutely can. It's a, you just go with whatever you have. And that's why I had put in the original kit, you know, whatever you have, whatever works, whatever your favorite medium, that's what I want you to use. That's what I would use, and I wouldn't want it to stop me from creating if I didn't have the exact thing. So I want you to be able to create with this as well. All right. So I just think he looks so cute. I hope you do too. All right, so before we do the last bit of it, I want us to go ahead and stick these down. That way, because we're going to put some of our stickles, glitter stickles on there, and I don't want us to mess it up with our hands, okay? And I know me, that would be what would happen. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to just stick this down. This is going to go right here in that piece. And then I'm going to pop up this one right here with 3D foam tape. Just like that. And then we're going to take the other one that we had, same thing, 3D foam tape. I'm going to bring in my original, and we're going to put this here. And you can do it either way. There's really not a right or wrong. I think I like it best that way, but you can do it however way you like the flower. Again, I'm just going to use two 3D dimensional squares. I want to make sure that it sticks up and that it doesn't have an area that's really going to get flattened. All right, so there we go. A couple other things real quick, again, before I want to do everything that we can do before we do our stickles, because I want to make sure the stickles doesn't come off or have any issues. So in your kit, whoops, I'm so sorry. I'm sure that was not very quiet. In your kit, you should have, you also have the little white circles that go over around that if you want to use those. I did not on this layout, but you definitely could. Okay, so I'm going to just pour these out so I can see what I had. Everybody's might be a little bit different. I use kind of a Mod Podge quantity of what we were doing, but before I stick them down, I'll show you exactly kind of what I did, what I was thinking of. So you have a couple different hearts. This one heart I have going here. I'm going to do this side first, okay? I'm going to have this heart going here, and then you should have like some arrows, like maybe 3 arrows. So we're going to want 2 arrows, or 1 long arrow is going to go on the other side, and then we're going to have a short arrow that's going to go there, or if it doesn't match the others. I tried to make sure you would have enough that would match at least 2, so you could see like a pattern with that. These are always easiest to adhere, in my opinion, with glue dots again. So like we were talking earlier, we definitely want to use, the glue dots if we can. So I'm just going to stick this on with glue dots, and then I don't have to worry about if it dries, then it's going to flake off, that kind of thing, which sometimes it can do with liquid adhesive. I'd like to say it doesn't, but sometimes it does. And so let's be honest, right? All right, so again, I'm just pulling back the ribbon when I get to a place that I need, and I'm just pulling it off here. And the nice thing about the glue dots too is I can kind of manipulate it a little bit so that it goes on both sides, and that's going to give it a better hold. And I'm just doing that down here at the bottom, just like that. And this heart I'm going to use for the other side, so I'm going to put that one away. All right, so on this side, we've got everything on this side done. So before we move on, let's go ahead and get our stickles. So I'm just using gold stickles, okay? Any kind of gold stickles that you have should work, or gold, you could use gems and just put several. But all I'm going to do is I'm just going to color in both flowers with these stickles. Now this is going to take, because I'm putting it in a big quantity, this is going to take a while to dry. So that's again why I wanted to do it last, because you're going to need to set this to the side so that this can dry well, okay? And then I'm going to use my stickles as well as like a to create my own embellishment clusters, kind of like we did on the other paper. And just try and go straight up and down. I went a little off to the side on that one. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm just going to do it like a 3 cluster. And there. So that's all we're going to do there. Okay. So I'm going to stick this one to the side, and then we're going to bring back in page 1 and just finish there. So on here, what we're going to do is, if you have 2 of the arrows or however many arrows, they're going to go just like this in this area. So again, get your glue dots. Okay. Just like that. That's going to stick on there really well. And then you're going to just take that last flower that we had put on already, and we're just going to take our stickles to it, color it in just like we did the last one. Oh, and I just realized I forgot my heart, so we'll go back and do that in a second. All right, and then around this, same thing. We want our title to stick out. We want our flower to stick out. There we go. So remember, odd is kind of what you're aiming for, your odd numbers. So right now I've got, for my extra dots, I did 5. So I've got 2, 4, and then 5 over there, and then with the big flower in the center. And so that's just, tends to be more pleasing to the eye, as we've talked about in the past. All right, so you should have another white heart, and we're just gonna, again, get some glue dots and then attach it to the back of the heart. And then that's gonna go up here in this little corner of our tag. And that's it. Now remember, when you're, to set this aside, you wanna make sure it's got plenty of time to dry before you put anything on top of it so that you don't mess up the stickles. These big pieces, or big sections that we have the stickles where the center of the flower is, that's gonna take probably overnight to dry. So make sure you just set it off to the side, and then it's gonna look super cool. Here's the original. You can kind of see the look that that gave. And here's the other side as well. So I hope you had fun creating this with me tonight. I hope you are excited about what the future holds and what we're going to continue to create. I am working on the Lake Life workshop right now. It is still available, which is wonderful. I am using the workshop kit, and then I will have some other pieces that I'm going to be bringing into it as well. But if you want to go ahead and get the workshop kit before it sells out, I'm pretty confident it probably will. But there's a lot of extra pieces in the workshop kit that are not in the paper pack. So we are going to be using the workshop kit. And then I'll let you know as I finish it up what other, tools or embellishments that you might need. But it may be good to kind of have those. And then, like I said, consider the Paper Pumpkin subscription. I really have a lot of cool ideas and things that we're going to create with those going forward, and some things even in past kits. So I'm just excited. I think you're going to enjoy them, and I'm excited to be able to continue to create with you. So take care, enjoy. I would love to see, after you create your layouts, for you to post them here. I know there's so many of you who are not able to jump on tonight, but definitely as you create these on your own and you finish them up, please post them up here. We all love to see kind of the different things that people put on here, the things that you celebrate, and it just makes us, I think, all happy to see that we're being able to create together. So enjoy, happy scrapping, and I will be in touch with you ladies soon. All right, good night.